Hey, what's going on, folks? I haven't done one of these videos in a long time, man, but we're going to be talking about my homie Jace from House of Dragons, how he stood on business. And if you haven't seen season 3, episode 1, this video is not for you. But anyways, man, he stood on business, and I 100% supported him that episode. And to be clear, it was never about whether his decision was right or wrong. And it was more along the lines of, yeah, this made sense. And as I go on to defend my homie Jace, I want to be very, 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 very clear. This is no beef against Rhaenyra. I 100% accept that as queen, her authority should be absolute, and we should listen to our queen. But I don't think I have to give an argument for that. You know, the queen speaks, you listen. So that's an easy argument. Now, what's harder is, you know, defending my homie Jace, which I don't actually think is difficult. But that's what I want to put my energy on based on the reaction video that we had. So anyways, yo, it looked like Queen Rhaenyra was going to go face this. First of all, whatever information Queen Rhaenyra was going on was outdated. And it was clearly wrong. She didn't know it was wrong. Alicent didn't know it was wrong. But the point is, as a viewer, we knew it was wrong. And the other parties like Jace basically used common sense. Like, yeah, she may want these things, but it's not really going to work out the way you think it's going to work out, girl. And Rhaenyra wanted to face this fleet on her dragon by herself. Now, here's my thoughts. If the homie Daemon was on the battlefield, or not in the battlefield, around the castle, I am 100% convinced that she would likely send Daemon out. If she had her 3 homies around, the 3 homies last season who now have dragons, I think she would have also sent them out to take on this fleet. But with her resources thin, Daemon was not here. The 3 homies she sent out to, I believe their strategy was to fight Aemon. They were going to triple team this dude. She was going to go out and meet the fleet herself, which from a strategic tactical point of view, there's no strong reason that she should go out by herself. It's not like she is the best dragon flyer in the world, or she has the largest dragon or something, or she has the fastest dragon. I know she has a big dragon. I think she has a big dragon. I'm not going to go into those details. But the point is, it's not a specific reason where this is a smoking gun. If Rhaenyra goes out, we win this. In fact, it had the greatest risk. If Rhaenyra goes out and dies, this whole cause goes up in flames. Technically, we could put Jace up next, but I feel like you lose a little motivation when it's a kid. You know, you just lost the person you were fighting for, and now it's somebody else, and now they're the very last one. On top of that, we question Jace's legitimacy because of the obvious reasons. And we question his legitimacy from a person whose legitimacy is being questioned. So it just gets worse. You know what I mean? It gets worse. So if Rhaenyra had went out, I think she dies that battle. She was going to go out by herself. Jace had enough sense to bring somebody with him. And for the most part, my opinion is, based on that, if it wasn't for, I think it's Renee, but the point is, the sheep killer, the sheep stealer, if it wasn't for the sheep stealer entering this battle, I think Jace and his, his cousin, Jace and his cousin, they pull this off. I think they do. But the third party happens, and now they died. Or he dies. And that's what would have happened to Rhaenyra, who wouldn't have had help, as far as I'm concerned, by the way, and would have struggled in this particular scenario. Could she have did it? Maybe. I just think that there was so much risk. Also, I don't really think there's a lot Jace can do when with a spike in his dragon. You know, the notion of pulling it out mid-fight. You know, I've seen people struggle pulling out an arrow, much less a massive spear-like spike strong enough to impale the armor / hide / scales of a mythological dragon, right? It's strong enough to pierce through the armor, the hide, and then be stuck in the flesh. You're not just going to be able to pull that out. I don't think you can cut it out very easily. These are thick ropes. I mean, you're just not going to be able to cut it very easily. It's going to take a while, especially in mid-flight. This is not an anime shonen. I 100% always thought that and agreed with those types of thoughts. So, my thoughts are Jace really did everything he could, and I actually kind of feel like he's right. And while this may go against what Rhaenyra wanted, and that's another theme, by the way, her as a woman constantly being put in these scenarios where people are not listening to her and making decisions for her. That's his own particular message. But on this one, but on the message as it relates to speaking about Jace, I'm gonna say he basically made the right decision. If your goal is Rhaenyra the queen living today, if your goal is to respect and be obedient, then he has failed in that one. But if your goal is, yo, I want my mom to live another day, aka I want the queen to live another day, what he did and what the Queen's Guard did or the King's Guard did, whoever that homie was that Jace assigned, they are 100% on the right side of history. I really believe that. And I was sold by Jace with his pure conviction, and he did the damn thing. And he's young, man. He's like 17 out here doing what he has to do, avenging his brother, trying to keep his mother alive. So, you know, my take as we conclude is, I think the show showed that, you know, both sides can be right, but once you introduce chaos, you just never know what can happen. That's why I don't think House of Dragons / Game of Thrones is 100% a show where you look at this side is right, this side is wrong. Oftentimes, it's not that case. Every now and then, you have a truly evil character, like my homie Joffrey at times. But a lot of the characters are gray or nuanced, or they're in a situation where they didn't have much agency, and here's what they had to choose in that situation. And a whole series of consequences or a series of events has led them here where it may look like cringe or that sort of thing. So that's my official take. Lee don't got no issue with Jace, especially on that video. On House of Dragons Season 3, Episode 1, I truly believe that was a moment where you're supposed to look at it and be like, damn, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's not an episode where you're supposed to blame anybody or be like, oh, Jace is wild or Rhaenyra is incompetent. It's not really that kind of episode. The war is an ugly thing, man. Yeah, I watched the First World Nation run up on... I don't know what to call this other nation, but I watched the world's greatest military force, you know, just try to run up on somebody, and it just didn't work out. Now my homie's out here trying to negotiate and trying to get himself out of this conflict. I watched my homies in Russia with the second or third, the largest or most powerful military in the world, struggling, man. You don't know what's going to happen until you enter the battlefield. It don't matter how competent you are, doesn't matter how experienced you are. There's always the unknowns, the minds of others, the strategies of others, and then third party, man. You can anticipate your enemy, but you got 1,000 other people that you got to account for, and you just never know what any of them is going to do. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. Shout out to my GOAT, Jace. Shout out to you guys who took the time to watch our videos. I normally don't do these kind of things, but I felt very strongly about that, and I wanted people to know where I stand on this one. So I put out my own personal video. Usually it goes on your boy Rock Lee show, but I went ahead and I put it on this channel because this is where most of the House of Dragons fans are as far as my channels go. Anyways, guys, much love to you guys. Peace. One thing I also want to add, you know, after I got home, I thought about it. You know, sometimes people are watching this and they're not realizing like the type of power fantasy show this is. What I mean by that, if we're watching He-Man, right, and his dragon got pierced, this man would have absolutely hopped off his dragon with one hand. Shout out to my homie Vin Diesel, Fast and Furious. These kind of men would absolutely hop off their dragon, hold on to the harness on one side, and then pull this spear out, and then chuck the spear back at the ship with the anchor, right? You know, if we're watching an anime, that's what's going to happen too. Watching a show like Vox Machina, you're not taking out a dragon with the spear. You know how powerful these dragons are, man? So sometimes, like, you're watching show and you're like, yo, this is a dragon. It's supposed to be unstoppable to bring down. And you're a dragon rider, man. Use the power of a dragon rider and just pull that thing out. Use the power of He-Man. You know what I'm saying? Then get my Thundercat sword out right quick, dog. Use the power of my homie Lionel. Pull out the Sword of Omens and cut the rope out of that thing and just kind of jump right in there. Which actually did make me think, if you had some Velaryon steel, shout out to my homie Jon Snow, maybe you can do that. Right, you have the resources to cut that down, but it's that House of Dragons, Game of Thrones, Seven Kingdoms. One thing about them is they're very realistic on the actual mechanics of combat. People aren't out here doing backflips, jumping off of buildings, dodging arrows like they in the Matrix. Like, they don't really do those kind of things. The battle doesn't look glorious. You don't want to be Jon Snow. You don't want to be any one of these characters. Their life looks rough. So in my opinion, I could see why certain people, because I heard it's not even just my channel, it's other channels too. So I'm speaking from a broad point of view. I can understand how other people are watching this, like, yo, Jace, do more. Yo, use the power of a He-Man, become him. You know, by the power of Grayskull, Jace. Where you at? And it's like, yo, it's not that kind of show. It's not, you know. The way that homie Jace went out was absolutely sad. Just on the water, getting tore up by arrows. They cut the music. It was truly, 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 truly sad. So that's my 2 cents on that. I've given a lot of thought. Jace is living rent-free in my mind. I'm out, y'all. Peace.